This is the last Decoded episode of the year, so I will try my best to keep it short and to the point. Sikkim. Remember Sikkim? Unlikely. And no, I'm not starting this video by blaming you, our viewers, for not remembering Sikkim. I'm here to simply remind you that as we step into 2024, we may have just witnessed the most crimeless disaster in recent times, and I'm simply trying to remind you of the same. Why do I say so? To explain the same, let me start by defining viral. Not the fever viral, the other viral. The term viral refers to an image, video, piece of information, etc. circulated rapidly and widely from one internet user to another. Between October 5, 2023 and say October 9, Sikkim went viral. Not the whole state of course, but the calamitous images of bridges, homes, buildings and of course dams all being washed away like dirt stuck to someone's bum after a hard day's work. School projects made with matchsticks seem to have more strength than hydropower projects worth crores. And yet, all was forgotten within 2 weeks. And the best part, Lachung, which was devastated by floods, is now open to tourists. So what if the state's backbone was broken in half? At least tourists can take selfies and make reels. It took 2 weeks to reach some villages in the aftermath of the floods. But when it comes to minting money, efficiency is the key. And so, tourism. But wait a second, if I remember correctly, over 75 people died, more than 100 went missing and were never found. Projects worth thousands of crores were damaged. Thousands of people lost their livelihood and yet not a single arrest. I repeat, not one. Because clearly, no one is at fault here, right? This is the same state, mind you, which arrested students in gazing for simply questioning why their building had not been completed yet. Students asking questions, what can be more dangerous than that? Pursuing for months.
The village of Assam
In the 75th Independence Day,
By now, we have developed a standard operating procedure for how we react to floods. Shocked on day 1, even more shocked on day 2, angry on day 3, dismayed on day 4, revolutionary on day 5, thankful for rescue operations on day 6. You will not believe this video series on day 7, donate ₹10 on day 8, talk about the importance of environment on day 9, and on day 10, done. Until the next tragedy. Earlier this month, EastMojo did an extensive article on how the Sikkim flood was years in the making, thanks to the absolutely corrupt, unchecked and dangerous practices of the then Sikkim government under Pawan Chamling. The story, which is linked in the description, shows in great detail how Sikkim's security was compromised. But now let's dive into some technical details. Between 2005 and 2019, before Pawan Chamling made way for P.S. Gole as the state's chief minister, the state government, in the name of promoting hydropower, made several questionable decisions. The Memorandum of Understanding or MOU or Memorandum of Agreement or MOA signed with the Special Purpose Vehicle Teesta Urja Limited, now known as Sikkim Urja Limited, and the Sikkim government in August 2005 was deemed as the standard agreement for other independent power producers with more or less the same set of terms subject to minor alterations for MOU or MOA. This was concurred by the high-powered Hydro Committee and endorsed by the cabinet. Yet, 7 years later, Chamling was left with an egg on his face after the Sikkim government had to move to court to get a restraining order against Teesta Urja for the dilution of shares to third parties without its consent, while at the same time denying the Sikkim government its share of 26% equity. Teesta Urja Limited finally offered the Sikkim government its share of 26% equity, for which it had to borrow rupees 296 crore in July 2012 after the Sikkim government moved the court. Hear this again. 12 years ago, the Sikkim government had to move to court against its own company, and yet no one batted an eyelid. There was no action taken against officials who acted larger than life, and corruption continued unabated. But this was not it. Of course, it never is. As our story shows, private developers who got projects through joint venture routes enriched themselves at the cost of the state and its people. As early as 2012, First Post had done a story on how the Chamling government was bending laws to favour the powerful. And the then Sikkim CM remained silent, and if anything seemed like he was more than happy to let this pass. I would say I'm surprised, but who am I kidding? Even if the state government seems uninterested in finding out about the culprits, at least the centre should have shown more interest in protecting a crucial strategic state which shares a border with China. Sample this. The flood destroyed 14 bridges in the 4 districts of the state, with 8 bridges getting washed away in the Mangan district alone. 2 bridges were destroyed in Namchi and 1 in Gangtok. Water pipelines, sewage lines and 277 houses have been destroyed in the 4 most affected districts of Mangan, Gangtok, Pakyong and Namchi. And then there was the annihilation of an arms depot to such an extent that days after the disaster, a child died allegedly trying to recover ammunition. How much of the ammunition was recovered? What happened to the rest of the ammunition? What is being done to recover the same? Let us know if you have any answers, because, well, we do not know. And neither do the authorities. Our reports over the past few months made it pretty clear that the previous government of Sikkim under Chief Minister Pawan Chamling chose not to disturb the status quo despite gross illegality, MOU violation and quid pro quo benefits enjoyed by the troika of politicians, bureaucrats and businessmen, not to mention huge losses to the state's exchequer. In fact, in reply to an RTI application, the private hydropower developers said that as a private limited company, they are outside the purview of the RTI Act 2005 and it is not applicable to them. Signatories to the MOU have no rights under the implementation agreement with the company. But let us return to Chamling and his successor Gole. On October 7, CM Gole had said to the media that a proper investigation would be conducted to find out if the construction of Chungthang Dam built during Chamling's term in office was substandard. The dam had disintegrated during the flood, unable to bear the water pressure. Now, this is typical among Indian leaders. Blame their predecessors for all that goes wrong and take credit for anything that goes right. Chamling shot back, responding with a typical "then why did not investigate" remark, and well, rightly so. If the dam was dangerous, as Gole admitted, and the construction was substandard, then why did the Sikkim CM not initiate an investigation before the dam became a thing of the past? Dam Safety Act 2021 empowers the state not only to take action but also establish preventive measures in case of hazardous dams. But even after nearly 3 months, there have been no arrests yet because, well, elections are coming, so the dead bodies and the missing list can wait. Sikkim elections are almost here, and in just a few weeks you will see similar patterns. Parties promising a round trip to the moon if you vote for them, telling you how the other party is corrupt and supported by anti-nationals and how they are the only ones who can save the majestic Himalayan state. At the same time, ask them this: what about Chungthang? What about Premal Achungpa, the medical officer for Tista Urja Private Limited, who sacrificed his life because politicians and officials' greed have no limits? If the SKM tells you SDF is to be blamed, then ask them how the SDF leaders remain out of prison. If the SDF tells you that they are not at fault for the floods, ask them about the dubious deals worth thousands of crores signed between the government and private companies, only to then hand over the project to the NHPC. When Baichung Bhutia comes to ask you for votes and tell you how ILP is necessary to protect Sikkim, ask him about the politicians and officials from his party who watched in silence for years as the disaster unfolded. Ask everyone and leave no one, because if one CM allowed corruption to flourish, the other remained silent, and Sikkim residents paid the price.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.